you are following, as a citizen, you are following all the legal compliances, the duties, the directive principles which our government, our country is telling us to follow. But in corporate world also, there are some responsibilities which we have to take care of. And then it comes, it starts with CSR. So let's talk about what all factors come under the category of social responsibility as far as corporate world is concerned. Okay, so I have listed here the models. You can see generic models of CSR, then pyramid model, intersecting circles model of CSR, concentric circles, 3CSR model, liberal and stakeholder model. So let's talk about one by one what do they signify and what's the need. When there is already a model existing, then what's the need of another one? Maybe they are adding or deleting some of the parts. Okay. So this is the generic model. Now, this CSR, corporate social responsibility, all these things arose when there was an industrial revolution. So it was around 1950s when this idea of CSR was first surfaced. Now, before going ahead with this model, you should know who is a stakeholder. And we talked about this before as well. You can quote some of the, managers or managerial people who know what do we mean by this particular terminology. So there is one such example of Freeman. He said that all those groups and individuals who can affect or are affected by the achievement of organization's mission, those are stakeholders. So I think we are on the same page with this definition, right?
No,
Hello?
ma'am.
Yeah,
We are
ma'am.
the first person.
Uh, do you want me to repeat it?
We are in the fast pace, madam.
Okay, okay. Let me set the pace for you. Basically, today's class is for corporate social responsibility model. So, for those who have joined it for the first time in this module, let me tell you what do we mean by corporate social responsibility. See, whenever, as a human being, we have to be kind enough towards the nature, towards people. Some are some ethical codes are there which we have to follow, which are not legally legally binded to us, but yes, we want them to be followed. So then we can say that we are, if we are paying taxes to our government, then we are a good citizen. If we are respecting our national flag, our nation, we have this patriotic feeling, then we are a good citizen. So similarly, in corporate world also, like in the business world, we as a corporate citizen, the business owners, be it customers, be any type of stakeholders, they have to fulfill certain responsibilities which come under this category of corporate responsibility. Now, there are many ways through which we can be responsible enough to pay our tribute towards the corporate, which is giving us money, fame, name, and so on.
Fame, name, and so on. Fame, name, and so on. Name, name,
What is happening? Okay.
I don't know, ma'am. What's happening?
Okay, if someone can please
Or
mute
maybe,
yourself.
Tell Luca to mute himself.
yeah, yes.
Luca,
Maybe I was.
Luca, mute
It
yourself.
was me.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was
It's okay.
switching from my phone to my laptop. So I'm sorry.
It's all right. So I was saying that when we say responsibilities, what do you think, in the corporate world, though we always say and we know it since the beginning, that business is all about economical sense. We need profit, we need to make the business profitable, and we are here. If we are employees, we are here to earn money. If we are businesses, we are entrepreneurs, we are managers, we are here to strategize things in order to reach some goals, missions, and then fulfill that desire to take our business so high at that level where it is profitable for everybody who is the part of that business. But is it enough to think it in the economical sense? Or are there any other responsibilities also? Is it fine if I am a plastic maker company, I'm making products out of plastic? Is it fine to just, throw out the waste in the surroundings and forget what was done earlier, what has been happening? Is it fine if I'm a resident of some place and there I have set up a company which is creating so much noise for the residential people? So is it fine? Am I fulfilling the responsibility because ultimately my business is growing like anything and I'm I have this profitable business? No, it is not ethically correct. And some people, they never understand what are the ethics they have to follow. And that's why government and external authorities have to come into picture, and they have to impose some of the penalties, some of the things, so that these ethical considerations are counted as abiding rules that you have to legally abide by them, and then it comes under the category of this responsibility. So either you become responsible enough by yourself, or government has to do with it, that it is legally binded, now you have to pay penalty. So if you want to get rid of it, let's keep the things in place. Now, who was saying that we are in the fast pace? Is it right? Is it up to the mark now?
Yeah, go ahead. It's now okay.
Okay, Lagu. So now, when we say responsibility, so there are so many corporate people and strategists who have given us different sort of responsibilities and their criteria, and it is up to you which model you want to choose for your company. Okay, so firstly, I showed this was the thing. I showed you this bit where this is the listing of all those models which are globally accepted, and there are certain models which vary from country to country. So this will be your task for today after completion of this class, that go through the government websites and get to know, or any of the private organization, what sort of corporate social responsibility they people are following. So at the moment, we are just focusing on what is globally accepted. So first model is generic models. So here it was given by, so before going ahead with this generic model, you should know who is a stakeholder. If I am buying the product from your company, so ultimately your profit, you are a customer centric company, your profit depends on me as a customer. So I'm a stakeholder for you. Your things are at stake, and I am a key driver for this. Similarly, all those board of directors, all those people who you have hired to work for you, and the shareholders, all these people are stakeholders. So someone has said, I mean, Freeman in 1984 has said this, that groups and individuals, be it groups like board of members or individuals who can affect, let's say if today someone says, I'm backing off, I don't want to be the part of this company anymore, you just pay my dividends, so that can affect my business. So I need to keep the network, so positive that everybody can be aligned with the same goal and mission, and it can be profitable for every one of us. So groups, individuals who can affect or are affected by the achievement of organization's mission are stakeholders. Okay. Now, if we have to connect stakeholders with corporate social responsibility, so we will say that responsibility in corporate world is like a dialogue. So for dialogue, you need two people, two entities, be it business to business or business to customers. So stakeholders dialogue become this exchange of corporate social responsibility offerings. Like you as a stakeholder will give your approval, your support to the firm, and in return firm will offer you some offerings. So in this way, one sort of responsibility is being fulfilled. Similarly, all those CSR activities that whatever the firms seek, majorly they are consents and approvals. And people today in the businesses, for the goodwill and for their publicity, they are doing philanthropic efforts. They are making move in philanthropic direction also. For those who are not familiar with this philanthropic word, you can I've not mentioned here, but philanthropy means you are doing an act of kindness for the society, for the people, from the profit which you are earning with your hard work. Okay. So some people, they are like, they know that some percentage of my profit has to be there for the society. Maybe I can open schools for poor people, poor students, poor children. Maybe I can, have this food drive where, hunger people can be served. I can use my profit, the percentage of profit, some percentage, for the midday meal at some schools. So this is how they do corporate social responsibility. But some people, they are not aware, or they just want to keep their profit among themselves only. They don't want to share it with others, with to fill this gap of wealthiness and poverty. So for those people, we have to tell them that, see, responsibility has to be fulfilled, and if you can do it voluntarily, fair enough. Otherwise, we have different things which we can talk about on the table. Anyways, coming back to this generic model. So it was given by Carroll. It is like a 3D model, three-dimensional. So what are the three dimensions? First, sorry about that. First one is, please mute yourself. First one is different categories of CSR. So just like I mentioned, there may be a responsibility to be served for economy. So economical aspect is one of the categories. Legal aspect is another one. That if you are saying that these ingredients I'm using for my consumers, so that should not harm them and it should be transparent enough. If you are following it, without any legal foundation, then it's fine. But there are some legal things which can be imposed to you if you don't follow the, the labeling and packaging norms. So economical, legal, ethical, these are the categories of corporate social responsibility. This is the first dimension by Carroll. Then second one is modes of social responsiveness. So what are these? See, if we have to, let's say we are in this corporate world, we have many things in respect to society, and we have to be responsive. We have to give responses why you are doing this. It is not that whatever you are doing, you are only liable to or accountable to your board of members. You are liable towards those people as well. For example, there was a case of consumer court. What happened? This person was operated, surgically operated for it was like tonsillitis. We have tonsils in our mouth, and above the Adam's apple we have this tonsils. So inflammation of tonsils is called tonsillitis. Now what happened? This boy, 10 to 12 years of age, he was operated for tonsillitis. But what happened? Because of some carelessness or whatever the reasons were, some sort of nerves which was going from the mouth to brain, it was damaged, and because of it, left side of the body got paralyzed. Now, though this thing was taken to the court, and court said that you have to compensate, the doctor, the authorities have to compensate. So that was fair enough. They provided 2 lakh Indian rupees to that person. But do you think it is just done? If you are as a doctor doing something, if you are as a food provider, putting ingredients which can be harmful for health. See, as an owner, you cannot be at every place. So you have to make that supply chain which is transparent enough. You have to be very vigilant that ultimately end customer should not get affected, negatively affected because of the things which you are doing. Remember this. So you have to be responsive enough, accountable enough towards the society, the products which you are selling. These are the modes of social responsiveness. So like reaction, defense, accommodation, proaction. These are some social responsiveness. We will cover them in the case studies as and when required. Then we have the third dimension, 3D model, third one, the last one for this. Social issues that need to be addressed. For example, of course, if you have consumers as stakeholders and you are creating products for them, you cannot compromise with the quality. And that too, when it is related with the health, that's why we have licensing in some part of businesses, that you cannot just sell the medicines without having license. For doctor, there is a licensing process. So all those things which are there, social issues like consumerism, the things which you are doing to environment, product safety, these issues come under the category of social responsibility. So these are the 3 categories. Then this generic model has been taken to one step further by Vetrick's orientation. So Vetrick Coughlin evolved this model so as to try to integrate 3 primary orientations of business and society. So orientation means the mode. We have philosophical orientation. That means you have to be, again, similar way. It's just the type of, the inclination towards the society. So in philosophical sense, what Vetrick said, that it covers principles of social responsibility. So once you are aware that you have a responsibility towards society, you are philosophically oriented. Then you have institutional orientation. If you follow the social responsiveness, then your organization as an institution, you are following institutional orientation. Then you have organizational orientation. That means as an organization, your policies, your management should be socially inclined. It should address social issues. If your manager is suggesting you some new technology, then he should or she should also come up with certain criteria that, see, its weakness is that it can be a drawback for the environment. See, we have so many plastic making companies, but you know what they do to prove themselves that they are socially responsible? They show how much of plastic, the percentage they have, taken into consideration for reuse, recycle, and how much they are throwing in the environment. So at the end of the year, there is a committee in every company which does this corporate responsibility audit, that how much funds have been allocated to make sure that your society, your environment, your people, they are safeguarded. And how much have you expended? How much has been done? All those sort of audit is done at the end of the year in the annual meeting. So this was about the generic model. Then what we have is pyramid model. Let me shift this bit a little upward. So we have this pyramid model. It was given in 1991. And again, Carroll has a, major role. Maybe he was like, I have missed something. So let's move on towards this. Now, instead of, under those category of social responsiveness, of social issues, all those categories are now, made more narrower. So he has classified all the responsibilities in the form of pyramid, as you can see on the screen. Now this pyramid has, if you start from the bottom and go up, this is arranged. All these priorities are arranged. All these responsibilities are arranged according to decreasing order of priorities. So, for instance, if you're a company, your foremost, crucial part, like you cannot survive without fulfilling this responsibility, is your economic responsibility, which we all know, and we want to fulfill it because anyways it is useful for us. Then we have legal responsibility, lesser priority, it comes second. So it is because to save you from, let's say, if, your employees accusing you of certain things that, not proper environment is not given to us and all those certain things. So you have this legal team to settle the things down. And prevention is always better than cure. That's why you provide that, those environmental things to your employees, to the consumers, that they can avail and can boast of your things that, you are doing great in terms of corporate world. So then we have ethical responsibilities, and the least priority is given to philanthropy, because not everybody, people say Why to be philanthropy? We are here to earn money, and anyways we are, paying taxes to the government. So, and government is using those taxes for social responsibility. So indirectly we are, interlinked, and we are fulfilling our corporate social responsibility. Why this philanthropic part? Those, for this NGOs are there. Why we should bother? But all these things, be it of little priority or the major one, these are important. So firstly, economical responsibility, as you can see here, be profitable. Okay, the foundation. And all other business responsibilities are predicted upon the economic. See, if you have money, if you are making profit, then only you can hire the legal team, then only you can have ethics, code of conduct, and then only you can fulfill the philanthropic part. So this is the foundation. Then we have the legal responsibilities, that if you have HR department, follow the HR rules, regarding your employees, the standard of operations, procedures, everything has to be followed. If you are dealing with another stakeholder, which is what? Your consumer. So you should be responsible enough to be transparent, that this, we are very transparent. Whatever products we have made, these are the pros and cons of this. Just like we have tobacco, and warning is written over there that tobacco can cause cancer. So this is how you are fulfilling legal responsibility. Though, just like, we have some advertisements of stock market, and then at the bottom it is written in very small fonts, it is, subject to risk, so please be careful about this. So in this way, you are following legal responsibility, so that in case people would sue you, that see, these people are selling tobacco as a product, so you can show, we are telling you as a responsible corporate citizen, that this product is harmful. Even if you are buying it, then that's your problem. So this is how these people deal with it. Ethical responsibility, that means those responsibilities which are not legally binding, legally codified, but yes, you should be ethical enough. You should know what is right and what is not right for you, so that you yourself can be your savior. Okay, you can avoid harm. So, and then we have philanthropic. So it is like a supported activity that you are doing. So these are the CSR pyramid. Okay. Now there is another person, Milton Friedman. He said that it is to make the maximum profit within the limits of legal and ethical boundaries. This is what pyramid model is about. Let me repeat. It is, this was, anybody wants to say anything? Please raise your hand. I can
No.
see you. Okay. Then I was saying that, see, you are very, very sure that if you are in the market, you have to make a profitable business. That's fine. But can't you do it by staying within the limits of legal and ethical boundaries? If you take this into practice, then this will never be a burden for you. People do this. Let's say if I have earned $100 this week, for example, then I would do this bit, and it will come into my nature that 10% of it, let's save it for the society. Someday or the other, it will help, those people who are in need, if I will be at that position. Not now, but you can have this sort of commitment at least. So, and then all the practices, we should not do anything which can prove us wrong, be it from the side of our employees, partner, shareholders, anybody. Let's be transparent enough. So if we are following this, ultimately profit will come to us, but people want shortcuts, and hence they focus only on the economic responsibilities, and rest all other things are sidelined. For example, you may have observed this. You are working for a company. You are doing a lot of work, maybe the work of 2 or 3 people, but you are paid less. Whereas on the other side, there may be one person who is a manager or the boss or at the higher position who is not doing anything, and then, or maybe he is not competent enough as you are doing, but still he's getting paid more. So what is this about? You are not having, the equality. It is very important to maintain the confidentiality. This is also one sort of responsibility. To maintain that equal pay, gender discrimination should not be there, racial discrimination should not be there. All these are, responsibilities which we should incorporate. Nowadays, whenever we fill a form, companies are following it. They ask for our ethical consideration. Do you belong to this race? Do you belong to this caste? And the religion and all those sort of things. But then they put this disclaimer at the bottom that there is nothing to do with the hiring process. We are just asking you for these details. I don't know why do they ask for it if they don't need it. But yes, at least because of legal foundations, they are following it in written form at least. Next is, after pyramid model, we have intersecting circles model. Now you can see who has given this, Schwartz and Carroll. Again, Carroll. So intersecting circles, you can see here, you can add as many aspects as you can. For example, we have economics, moral, ethical. What have been skipped? Legal. We can have a Venn diagram with legal aspect also. Now you can see the common part. Whoever will lie here in this region, that will be following both economics and ethical. Whoever will lie in this region, that person and that business, that entity is following moral and ethical. So there can be many permutation and combination, many settings of business that what they are following. This intersecting circles model, why there was a need to bring this up? They said that, see, in previous model, we are setting up hierarchy, like priorities of responsibilities. But this intersecting circles model say no. When it comes to responsibility, either the person is fully responsible or irresponsible. So when it comes to CSR, none of the aspects are more important than the other. In fact, they are equally important. If you cannot follow ethical terms, how can you be moral? If you are not following moral and ethical values, you will create that, that quality of product which nobody would like to have. And then your economics will be affected because of it. So ultimately, everything is interlinked. You cannot set up the priorities. This model can be used to establish CSR portraits of different entities where you need to follow that how much morality is required in it. Should we go for economics? Sometimes, for example, if I'm a teacher and I am teaching, I'm tutoring, not about this organization, but let's say I'm tutoring and I'm asking, this is my private job, and I'm asking them for money. And if someone says, we are very poor and we cannot afford this much amount, so I should be empathetic enough to sideline my economic thing. And even if you want to be economic, you can set up a deal. Let's see, okay, I'm allowing you to have this class free of cost. In return, you can bring, more clients, more students, and then have this evangelism, word of mouth, that yes, a teacher is teaching here and so on and so forth. So you can come up with so many economic strategies by following moral and ethical values also, by following legal aspects. So you can establish CSR portraits using this model for different entities like individuals, for corporations, for industries, for nations. You know, you can go beyond the global boundaries, beyond the national boundaries, and you can be global. And however, this model is being criticized, has been criticized by various people. For example, there was Davis Iron law of responsibility. He suggested a law of responsibility. Some people supported it as well. They say, see, this Davis Iron, he rejects economic responsibility being the first and foremost. He says, see, here we have set up economic as first now. So Davis Iron said, we should even not think about economic responsibility in the first place when it comes to corporate responsibility. Although businesses are created for profit making, but at the heart of it, it should be actually a social creation. And for it to survive and thrive sustainably in the society, they should willing to support, endure the society. And hence, all these values have to be given equal importance. Is it fine? Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
Yes.
Following, mom.
Mm.
Great. Next model is about concentric model of CSR. So you can see here intersecting circles. They are intersecting, cutting each other at few points. Here we have concentric, that means center is economic. Economy is the key, and that's why businesses are set up. But all those, economy is the central thing. All those things have major role to set up this sustainable economy for you. So it was given by the Committee for Economic Development in 1971. Now, basically what they said, social contracts of any business process is not only feasible, but also morally necessary. Let's say you want to be economic, but you don't want to follow ethical aspect. Then what can happen? We have a contract. We are coming into the partnership. We have this contract. And let's say we don't follow legal and ethical norms. What would happen? You want to be economic enough. And that's why you have this contract. But now I'm saying I don't follow this contract. What would you think? Oh, this person does not have, neither have professionalism nor have ethics and legal, code of conduct. So we have to bring into picture the legal aspects. We have to take some, help of legal notice, courts, barristers, solicitors, whoever can come into the picture based on our budgets and all. So if you want to, live in and survive in this business environment, you have to follow all those rules which you want others to follow when it comes to you. So initially, when this model was, formulated, only 3 rings were there. Okay, economical, ethical, and philanthropic. So economical is like you have products, jobs, you are creating jobs, financial stability and growth. Ultimately, you can say I have hired these many people and I'm providing them opportunity to get employed. So that means I am ultimately helping them in providing salary and all those financial stability stuff. So you are fulfilling our economic responsibility, and in return, you are also getting the growth and the business. Then you have ethics. Initially, the model was about economic, ethical, and philanthropic. In ethical, you have responsibility to exercise as your economic activities and functions, but with a sensitivity, with a sensitive awareness of ethical norms. And then when it comes to philanthropy, this is like an amorphous responsibility where the business should get involved to improve the social environment, because you are a social animal. And ultimately, if your society is good, is doing great, you will also get the positive vibes, the more business, let's say if you are, or you can contribute to make or to fill this gap where people cannot even afford food, those physiological, those basic needs. And if you can help them, then ultimately you should not see at the red light. If you have seen someone begging for the needs, begging for money or food, if you can give the person the opportunity to work, be it at the lowest level of work, then that person can be employed, and ultimately it will give the purchasing parity power to that person, and you can also get the business out of it. So if we are, it goes hand in hand. If you help your society to grow, society will in return give you a lot. And ultimately, this is your goal, which is the central activity, the economic activity. So if you move from inside the economic one to outside, it represents the internalization of social norms which reside and operate within the business, right? It's just that you have to come up with positive and affirmative duties. It is ultimately helping you to generate wealth, but by improving the nation's standard of living, supplying the needs and wants of people for goods and services. And what else the society want from you? It is like, please, be sympathetic enough when you set up your price. Your price war can harm the consumer who cannot afford those basic needs. So sell them at fair prices so that it will not neither harm you nor your consumers. Provide employment, fair wages. You are also, if you are the job giver now, you are at times job seeker as well. So you have to see and make the balance by setting a fair wages. And if we keep all these things surrounded by our economic goals, we will, we can have this imagination manifestation to holistically eliminate poverty. At least everybody, if I talk about, there are many countries, you can see global hunger index. There are so many people who sleep at night, who pass their day without having even a single bite, without having any food. What can we do for them? So it should be followed. Now you can, if you cannot immediately or directly help them, it's all right. Just do your part. And ultimately, you will see everybody, if they follow the same things and they follow the social responsibility, a society will be a better place. Better place to live in. And then thereafter, legal circle came into picture because, things were not in order. Initially, what was happening? People were not given their rights. We had a long walk to freedom, and then we are here today only after fighting for our rights. Someone in the corporate world, before setting up of this labor union or labor codes, someone would have taken a step that my rights were violated, but I would not let anybody do it with any other person. So in legal circle, this legal circle encompasses two responsibility. Firstly, you should follow law. And secondly, you should follow the spirit of law. Spirit of law. That means you should approach law through socially appropriate considerations. This will give you autonomy to work likewise, like within your rights, but without violating the rights of others. It's as simple as that. That means you are following all those restrictive compliance because you have to. Then you are finding the opportunities. So opportunistic compliance. And whenever you crack a deal, you always have this legal contract in your hand to see where it can be breached and what norms can be given so as to avoid that situation. And you can anticipate the changes in legislation. That's why we always do external analysis. When you set up your business, what do? You do pestle analysis. What does this pestle analysis stand for? P for political, E for environmental, S for social, T for technological, E for economical, and then what is left? L, legal. So this is how you make a setup. By these are those things, if you don't follow or ignore, it will ultimately harm you. If you set up your business outside your own country and you forget, you are used to pay the taxes as per your government, as per your nation, but here tariffs are there, some import duties, export duties, so many things you have to take care. And some countries, they say, if you are setting up businesses in our country, you need to follow this rule that 50% of your staff should be from our nation. So that's how they make you legally binded towards this employment responsibility, which they want to fulfill, but they are making you mediator to fulfill it. Right? And then this ethical, it is also as seen, we can see, if we talk about this here in intersecting circles, we have ethical norm. And then here also ethical. It is as same as the previous model. Nothing has been changed. Only one point has been added, which is make sure as a business, it is your responsibility of not exploiting your stakeholders who are not protected by well-established ethical norms and customs. For example, I'm your consumer, and let's say I'm illiterate. I don't know what is written on your label. So isn't it your responsibility to make the things for the person like me also? And if I cannot read the MRP, if I cannot see the pricing mentioned on the label, isn't it your ethical responsibility to do the fair pricing? To, it's to not to take the benefit of the situation. So that's how you need to know that those vulnerable stakeholders who are not protected, who are not aware of their rights, it is your responsibility to establish ethical norms and customs for those people. And if you are setting up for those, ultimately you are setting up for everyone. And then society leverage will happen. You are becoming socially responsible. Okay, large businesses must become an active agent for social change. Let's say if you have, just a minute. So then we have this philanthropic ring where you have to use your corporate social competency and all those advantages you are getting to solve major social problems. For example, what you can do? See, it will give you the business also. I told you in the first class the example where some companies, what they do, for example, parachute oil, hair oil. They say if you buy this product, 1 rupee, 1 Indian rupee will go to, from this product, this 1 unit will go to the studies of women, will go to the rural development. It will be contributed towards this or that mission. So what will happen if a person like me who is so emotional and sensitive towards everything, that emotional quotient will work and you will get more business because of the goodwill, that how beautiful this sense of belonging is there, that this person, even after it is here for the business, is here for the economic purpose, but they are also contributing towards the social things. So all these things need to be considered while setting up your profitable strategies. Then what have we got? Just bear with me. The last model, I mean not the last, but this is where we have pictorial representation. The picture is not clear enough, right? It's okay, I'll see what we can do, but at the moment, listen. It has 3 C's. That means 3 keywords starting from C and SR model. Now, when we say 3C social responsibility model, what are these 3 C's? It was proposed by John Meehan, Caron Meehan, and Adam Richards. These were in the Liverpool John Moores University. And they said that for a corporate responsibility, the social responsibility, if you want to fill, there should be 3 components. First, commitment, ethical and social commitment, which you do with you and your stakeholders. Your stakeholders are forming the society now. So that's how you are fulfilling your responsibility towards society. Then second C is connection. Your connections with partners in the value network. Okay. This is your corporate responsibility, to have good connections. It should create value for the society. And third C is consistency. Please make sure if you have built trust, people have started buying your things like anything. You are getting more and more business, but then also don't find shortcuts to earn more and more businesses, more profit. Make sure you can be consistent enough to build that trust and to keep it. Okay, it is not that one lot. If you are selling cosmetics, one lot was okay. You must have seen these things where person was using this cosmetic product and the burn was happened to the skin. The skin was burnt like anything. So now when the court case was filed, consumer the appellate was like, see, it is like the skin type. This person was not able to accept the tone of the skin, and the skin type was not able to cope up with these chemicals. Then also this person applied it. So this was the legal connotation, but it should not happen. You should be very clear, and if you think that this cosmetic will not work for every skin type, then put the label that this is not every skin type. Before using it, go refer to your doctor and all those things. So consistency is important. So here are 3 things. You can see here: commitments, connections, and consistency. Okay. Then we have, you can see here in the models, liberal and stakeholder model. Liberal model is like, it was given by Milton Friedman. Liberal means freedom, free. So it is actually the model which we all as a business person like. How? This model says that, it is sufficient for a business to obey the law, to generate wealth. And we are anyways doing the social responsibility through taxation, private charitable choices. We are following, we are these things are happening and can be directed to social needs. So ultimately, social responsibility of an organization towards the community and the nation is being fulfilled by just keeping that economic model in mind. It was given by Milton Friedman, okay, in 1958. And he challenged the very notion of corporate responsibility with the idea that companies are solely responsible to their owners. Just bear with me. Right. And then we have last model, which is stakeholder model. So in this also, you can see from the name, it is like when we are rising globally. So it is the growing consensus that if our wealth is increasing with this increasing economic rights, business have social obligation. And this is giving rise to the stakeholder model, okay? It was given by R. Edward Freeman in 1984. So I'm hoping that you are clear about the models. If you have any doubt, please go ahead. Are we good to go? Great. So this is
If
it.
you check, oh, I was just checking. There are some questions at the chat box. Maybe
Okay.
you can check.
Okay. So let's start from the scratch. It is
Tonix has asked you some
CSR.
questions.
CSR is corporate social responsibility. Thanks, Fatima, for replying, and thanks, Peter. Then we have Tonix. How does CSR relate to a company's core business activities? I'll give you the example. You know, I shared with you Coca-Cola, Apple, Walmart's case studies. Have you gone through it? So there was one case where sustainability was not there. Okay, let's discuss about these core business activities in the next class, where we will be showing that what are the dilemma when we are following economical path and we are unable to fulfill social responsibility. I gave you example of Maggi noodles. This is the product by Nestle. They used the lead amount. Lead is an element which was prohibited, and they put the amount more than what was required in their product, and they did not mention it on the label either. So then the food corporation, they found this out, they investigated, and they banned Maggi for 2 or 2.5 years. So this way you can see CSR, as I told you, the image, goodwill. If you follow your social responsibility, for example, if you are an exporter and you are exporting your goods to European Union, and in your nation you don't care about your packaging and labeling things because there are not such strict norms. But if you go to European Union, they are very particular. If you are labeling your packaging, it has anything which can harm environment, they'll depart you. They will not let you in into their market. So there are some political, economical, legal compliances which you have to follow. Be it, do it via voluntary means or do it because of the legal compliance, but it can definitely affect your company's business. As I told you that, if you are telling that whichever product you are buying from us, the percentage of this product will go to the social cause, for the studies of students, the children, for slum people, then ultimately it will increase the emotional quotient and you can connect with your audience. It will create a publicity, and some of the examples you must have seen that people do the brand, do the promotion using celebrities. But that celebrity who does the promotion of any narcotics, any drug, for example, tobacco, they first of all they refrain themselves to advertise things like these because they can harm their images. But then if they are doing it, people start boycotting them. We will discuss about the examples, and then second question is, how do companies investigate CSR into overall, integrate CSR into their overall business? As I told you, that because of legal compliance, you have this audit, CSR audit, where we have to what? Show that how much you have contributed. So in this case, they have this whole committee who set up what can we do. They have public-private partnership. This will also be clear with the examples. Potential benefits and challenges. Of course, so these are very nice questions, Tonix. If you can pose these questions in the group. Yeah, in the group, and then we will start having discussion on it, okay? Put it in the group. Then Kingsley has said, ma'am, I would love to involve some questions to us when lecturing. This helps us to, yeah, you are right, Kingsley. You know what happens? Just for example, we have for today, the schedule is we have to cover the models of corporate responsibility. So it is in my schedule that after completing all those models, we will go with this case study. But now time's up. So yeah, I'm getting your point. I'll incorporate this from next class onwards. Maybe one sort of case study can be, considered. I understand when we have a question to ask, then we have to raise our hand and ask. Still, I agree with you. CSR, when integrated, effectively aligns the company's activities with social and environmental responsibility. It means considering the impact of core business operations on various stakeholders, including employees, communities, and the environment. For example, a company can practice CSR by ensuring ethical labor practices. Oh, that's great. Peter has answered your question. Thank you, Peter. So he has mentioned the labor practices in the supply chain, the environmental thing, carbon footprint reduction, and then social and environmental issues. We have partnership with NGOs. This is how we can incorporate the strategies. And then benefits. Wow, Peter has also mentioned some of the examples of Patagonia, Unilever, Tom's, Microsoft. That's awesome. So it's very good to, I'm very overwhelmed that you guys are taking participation. Though you did not respond when I asked that raise your hand, but at least in the chat box. Okay, so from next class onwards, we'll try to have to incorporate these feedbacks. And I think, is there anybody else who wants to say anything or the doubt? No? All right, then we are good to go.
No, you have cleared.
Yes. Tonix, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was saying that you have cleared all the doubts.
All right, thank you. So this is it for today, class. See you in the next class. In fact, we have tomorrow also this report writing skills class. So be ready at the same time of CSR. Okay. So by now we know that what do we mean by corporate social responsibility. So as a person